Hello and welcome to Quays News, live from Media City UK. I'm Tom Rowland. Young people in Manchester are being warned about the dangers of smoking shisha. The campaign is aiming to combat the misconception that smoking shisha is safer than cigarettes. Jake Whittle reports.
These are hookahs, a multi-stemmed instrument used for smoking flavoured tobacco, known as shisha.
Here in Manchester, a campaign has been created to try and highlight the dangers of shisha smoking. From the 8th of October and running for 8 weeks until December, Manchester City Council and the NHS have combined forces to try and tackle the misconception that by smoking shisha, it is in fact safer than smoking cigarettes. As well as this, they're trying to make people aware that by smoking shisha in enclosed public places, it is in fact breaking the law. I spoke to David Regan, Director of Public Health in Manchester, to try and learn more about the campaign.
Right, I think it's really to raise awareness first with the public, get them to talk about the issues, to make sure we're very clear that people understand the health consequences. Smoking shisha continuously over a long period could lead to the same health outcomes as smoking: heart disease, cancers, other conditions. And we really want to ensure that people understand the legal situation, that smoking shisha in enclosed public places can carry a fine, not just for the restaurant owner, but for the individual who smokes the shisha pipe.
However, some people aren't entirely in favour for the campaign. For some people, shisha smoking relaxes them in the same way that some people may enjoy a glass of red wine or a cigarette throughout the day. I decided to look into this further, so I spoke to local shisha bar manager Barak Al-Zubadi for his thoughts on shisha and the campaign.
People from outside Manchester, like the little towns like Bolton, Blackburn, Rochdale, all of them, they came here every day to smoke shisha. The people, like, they can't stay outside, they tell you want to smoke inside, so if they didn't smoke inside, like, you don't get to sell nothing because you open, it's not coffee shop, it's shisha place. Yeah. So the people that when they came, not to drink something or something like that, they come to smoke shisha.
The British Heart Foundation has recently reported that the number of shisha bars within major cities has rocketed by 210% since the year the smoking ban came into force.
The issue here is that the shisha bars are allowing smoking in enclosed public places. That's not just against the law, it's also a risk to the people who work in those bars who are covered by the smoke-free legislation. I think the long-term benefits of this campaign will outweigh any short-term responses which might be a bit negative. So I think it's a very important campaign. It hasn't been done before and we're very keen that it's successful.
Hopefully the campaign will allow more and more people to understand the risks of shisha smoking. This is Jake Whittle reporting for Quays TV News.
A doggy daycare which has opened up employment opportunities in Salford is set to open more sites in every town in the country. Wags is a place for owners to drop their dogs off for the day whilst they are at work. The dogs are free to play and they can also go for grooming, have some dog therapy or check in at the doggy motel as an alternative to the kennels. The Worsley business is hoping to open new centres across the northwest, hopefully starting with Warrington. Now for your bed.
An environment where all the dogs are happy, so they don't have to stay at home on their own, and so that we give all the dogs satisfaction. But the main thing of all is that we created employment in such a way that everybody has a win-win situation, whereby the animals are happy and the owners are happy.
Now for your bedtime reading, would you consider an internet blog? The Blog North Awards recently took place in the heart of Manchester with categories in culture, neighbourhoods and best young blogger. The award showcased the well-acclaimed Adam Christopher and quirky blogger Lauren Prince, the winner for best food and drink. Now, have you ever wondered how BAFTA award-winning documentaries like Planet Earth and Frozen Planet are made? Well, renowned wildlife cameraman Doug Allan has been touring around the UK spilling the beans about what goes on behind the scenes. And we caught up with him at Manchester's Dance House Theatre. I'm here at the Dance House Theatre in Manchester to talk to one of the world's leading wildlife cameramen, Doug Allan. Now, Doug has had a very impressive career spanning 4 different decades, and he's won numerous awards for his work, including BAFTAs and Emmys and Pandas. who's also worked with none other than David Attenborough, and he's in Manchester to kickstart his UK tour of his talk, Life Behind the Lens. I caught up with Doug a bit earlier on.
For me, wildlife filming actually came quite a long way down the course. My first passion was diving. That took me, I started that at school. Then I went to university to do biology. Then I did a lot of diving with biology. I went to the Antarctic, and it was actually in the Antarctic that I started photography, and then stills photography became movie photography, and finally I sort of realised that wildlife filming encapsulated a lot of what I enjoyed, and so that was when I started to think about it, moving into it as a proper job. In January 1981, I helped David Attenborough and a BBC film crew who arrived on the research station I was working on, and they wanted a hand for a few days, and they also wanted to do a little bit of underwater. And so I helped them with the underwater. I helped them to take their gear to different parts of the island, and you know, as I say, working with them for 3 or 4 days, I thought, what a great job these guys have got. The frightening, scary moment was when I was snorkeling in the Arctic, and a walrus came up and grabbed me. Completely instinctively, I hit it on the head.
With a camera or just a fist?
Well, a camera, a fist, what have you. And luckily it let go. I didn't expect to be covering literally hundreds of miles a day in this rickety old motorbike with me. It's kind of like Wallace and Gromit, isn't it?
After his inspiring talk, Doug conducted a Q&A session with the audience and signed copies of his debut book, Freeze Frame. Now we have a busy weekend of sports coming up, and joining us in the studio is our sports correspondent, Elliot Millward. Elliot.
It's a big weekend for the Manchester clubs in the Premier League. City host Swansea at the Etihad Stadium, looking to get back to winning ways after their loss in Amsterdam on Wednesday. Mancini has today confirmed that Javi Garcia, David Silva, Jack Rodwell, Zabaleta and Maicon are all out through injury, and James Milner sits out through suspension. On Sunday evening, it is first versus second as United take on Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. The Red Devils fought back from a 2-goal deficit to defeat Braga in midweek, but Sir Alex Ferguson will be hoping that his side don't go behind this time. John Terry is suspended for the game, and Lampard looks likely to miss out with a thigh injury. Shinji Kagawa has today been ruled out for 4 weeks. On to rugby now, and Sale Sharks face a tough trip to Worcester tonight. Sale haven't won at Six Ways since January 2009 and will be hoping to get some much needed Premier League points on the board. England under-20 prop Ross Harrison makes his first league start for the Sharks, and Danny Cipriani keeps his place at fly half.
It's Halloween, and Eccles has played host to the highly anticipated pumpkin growing competition. Pumpkin growing kits were handed out to the locals at the farmers market in March, with people of all ages encouraged to take part in the event and show off their community spirit. Families prepared for a spooky Halloween by carving out their own pumpkins throughout the day. Well, that's it from the Quays TV News team. We'll be back next week when we'll have a full report from the homecoming parade for Greater Manchester's Olympic and Paralympic athletes. So Christopher Hoy will be leading the team, and Quays TV News will be there. Now, we'll see you next week with that and more, but for now, thank you and goodbye.